Morning, it is that time of the week again, fitness fragrance review, and of course at the moment I'm working through some clone fragrances, and it's the final one I've got that's a clone of a Creed fragrance. And the clone, you won't be able to read my terrible handwriting there, but it's a clone of Millesime Imperial, very well known, very popular fragrance, and I do love the Creed bottle for that one, a very shiny gold one. What does Millesime Imperial smell like? Well, it's kind of a summer based fragrance, and I think its real selling point is the saltiness. It's a salty type fragrance, gives you that beachy vibe, that holiday vibe, and that's why I wanted to buy it. We're obviously now transitioning into the springtime, summertime, and I just wanted something a little bit fresher, less dark, less sweet, less gourmand essentially. And yeah, this was one of the first ones that came up in my mind. So if you haven't seen my fitness strength reviews before, essentially I'm going to do a morning workout. So I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while wearing this, and we'll rank it on its 5 categories. We'll look at its price, we'll look at its versatilities, how much you can use it in different situations. We'll look at its projections, how much I'm noticing it during my run. We'll also do a room spray test. We'll see how much the fragrance fills the room. Compliment factor, do I think people are saying nice things about it? And also its longevity. Well, I'll spray miles before I go to the gym, and we'll just see how much this fragrance lasts. So will it survive the workout and the shower? 3 hours will go by. But yes, Essence Vault, they do loads of fragrances. They've done a lot of Creed ones. I've recently reviewed Viking, a clone of Viking, recently reviewed a clone of Aventus as well, and they do plenty on there. So I'm really looking forward to giving this one a go. They've been a little bit mixed. I wasn't a massive fan of the Aventus one. I thought the Viking one was absolutely fantastic, and it just grew on me during the workout. So hopefully that will do the same here. But let's go into the note breakdown of this one and tell you what's inside the Essence Vault 497. So my old phone has decided to pack up now, so I'm sitting by the computer to look at the note breakdown for this one, the Essence Vault 497. But it's quite a big note breakdown, and having a look at the notes on Millesime Imperial, on Fragrantica to this one, it's obviously quite similar. So the top notes you get in this is fruity notes, a melon, sweet citrus vibe, and obviously, as I mentioned, that sea salt. So let's give it a quick spray again. You definitely pick up that saltiness. That's the first thing I really get. Now, there is definitely this clean smell on top. I don't think it's particularly a fruitiness, that citrus that they mention, but the salt in this is very prominent. I've had a Lush fragrance called Lush Salty, and you can definitely detect similarities there, certain nuances that are similar. Very, very strong in it. Very pleasant. Again, give that beach, summer holiday type vibe. Then we get into the middle of this one. We've got Sicilian lemon, bergamot, mandarin orange, and iris. I do think I'm getting a bit of that citrus sparkle. I don't think it's just the salt. I think there's a nice fruity sparkle that's probably coming from quite a sharp lemon here, and also that bergamot. I don't particularly get any orange. I wouldn't know orange was in this. Definitely more that lemon and greenness I'm getting from bergamot. And then there's a bit of iris as well in the heart. Now, maybe it does have this slight soapy vibe to it, and obviously I reviewed a clone of Tom Ford Noir the other day. Definitely do get some similarities there. You do pick up the iris. I probably wouldn't have noticed it unless it was mentioned here, but now I've seen it on the note breakdown, I'm expecting that's going to get stronger through the lifespan of this fragrance as well, because it does have that slight floral smell to it to me. And then in the base you've got musk. Again, that clean washing smell lends itself perfectly to salt, or the sea salt in this, and obviously those more citrusy, fruity notes in this. Woody note, I think that's just smoothed off the edges. Again, you can't really smell the woody notes in this to me. I think it's just preventing it from being too harsh, too strong, too sparkling. And then you've obviously got the marine sea notes. Well, yeah, that's exactly this. As I said, the first thing I said is beachy vibes. I think, again, it could be the chord of multiple notes there that's given that smell. And then ambergris or ambroxan, essentially. It's not a blue fragrance, but the main thing I'm really getting from this is that salt. The salt is super prominent, and it's probably the iris. It's this clean, salty smell. It just smells delicious. It smells like you're on a summer holiday in Italy or something along those lines, and it's very pleasant. So I cannot wait to review this one today. I'm going to go and do the first 2 categories now. So I'll finish my stretching. We'll look at its price/value for money, and also its versatility. It's looking dry. I'll see you out there. We are off. It is so busy around today. The weather has brought more people out, but one thing's for sure, all these people out walking dogs, driving to work, none of them smell as good as I do today, because I am wearing the Essence Vault 497, the clone of Creed Millesime Imperial. Now we better start with price/value for money for this one. As with all the fragrances on the Essence Vault website, if you want a 100ml bottle, you're going to be paying about £25. Now, I looked online today at the prices for the original Creed Millesime Imperial, and it costs around, the most common price I found, was 220. So essentially this is a tenth of the price, and it does smell very similar. My brother had this one before, and I do remember when he had the original, it was that saltiness that was super prominent. And just looking at the reviews, you know, most people do say this smells very similar. So yeah, in that sense, you can't moan. It's a good value for money in that case. Now, it's the scent quality that matters next to me. Does this smell as good as the original? Probably not. But does it smell overly synthetic? Not at all. You know, you probably saw when I was sitting at my desk looking at the note breakdown, I probably oversprayed. I sprayed it out like 10-15 times. And sometimes with cheap synthetic scents, they almost burn your nostrils. You get this alcoholic blast, and they normally make me sneeze. This one feels like the blend is really, really good, and you get a real transition from the opening to the base. So you really do detect, you know, a lot of those salty notes in the opening. And I didn't think you get the iris. I didn't particularly know iris was in this, but as it transitioned down, as it dried down a bit, I did start to pick up that lipsticky, powdery vibe, which is a real selling point of this fragrance for me. I really like it. And then when you get to the base, you certainly pick up those sea notes, and it just takes you to the seaside. It is a summertime fragrance and perfect for a day-to-day when the sun is out. So they are all the positives. It feels high quality. It smells obviously like a very high quality scent, and it doesn't feel like they've cut any corners. The blend here is really good. The only negative here, and it's not specifically about this fragrance, but it's very hard when you have clean summer fragrances to make yourself stand out. And obviously recently I've bought the Essence Vault 213, which is the clone of Tom Ford Noir, a lovely soapy fragrance which again utilises iris, and Acqua di Gio, which again has that beachy vibe about it, but it does go off into a more rosy floral component than this one. I feel like if you own a few summer fragrances, this one could become a little bit redundant. Certainly if you're going for, like I did, a bundle of fragrances on the Essence Vault. I almost feel like because I've got Tom Ford Noir, because I've got Acqua di Gio, as much as this one's very nice, I don't particularly need it. It's not doing anything too different from those. Even though they smell different, you'd use them in the same situation. So it can become a bit limited if you've got other sort of summertime fragrances. It doesn't do anything too daring, but it does make it redundant in that case. The selling point is definitely that saltiness, but that's not enough for me to say, oh, I have to get this one over, say, an Acqua di Gio or any other clone that I've recently bought that is a summer beachy vibe. So that's the only thing I can really mark it down, but I'm not going to mark it down that, because in isolation this is a great scent, and I'm going to give it, for that reason, 9 out of 10. Really enjoying it so far on this run, and it's certainly packing a bit of a punch. So let's move on to versatility then for the Essence Vault 497. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, first thing that came to my mind with this is beachy vibes. It definitely gives you that feeling of being on vacation. And a lot of these scents, when they are summer-based fragrances, they have a lot of notes that are very unisex. Bergamot is in so many men's and women's fragrances. Lemon, any sort of citrus note, to be honest, they're in men's and women's fragrances in equal measure, as are things like musk. And even iris, you know, I think of iris as more of a feminine lipsticky note, but of course it's very prominent in the Prada DNA. And Prada L'Homme, which is a very well-known men's fragrance, is obviously that's the big selling point of it. So a lot of the notes in this are completely unisex. They're certainly more suited to that summertime, but for men and women of many different ages. And to be honest, when you look at these notes, they're much lighter, aren't they? They're not heavy, you know, they haven't got any real smoky facets to them, strong leather components. That means you can wear them pretty much throughout the year. Look, I would definitely choose to wear this one more in the daytime, more casually. But if you wanted to wear this as a, you know, with a suit and tie or a smart shirt, it's not going to feel wrong. It's certainly not going to feel as wrong as wearing a strong leather fragrance with the sports gear I'm wearing. So it has that element of versatility. Any summer fragrance has a little bit more versatility than most strong winter scents. Now, where I would mark this one down in terms of versatility is, obviously, there's a very iconic Creed fragrance, Creed Aventus. Now, Creed Aventus also has fruity components to it, and it has a lot of versatility. That is why it's very popular. That is why there's many clones of it out there. And of course, I have the Essence Vault 200 Plus, which I've recently reviewed. And I feel like if I had to buy one Creed fragrance of versatility, Would I pick this one or would I pick that one? And I'd probably pick that one because of the birch. I'd probably say Creed Aventus gives me a little bit more depth and complexity for those occasions where I might want to dress it up a bit more. You can certainly wear Aventus casually, but that extra complexity, that extra smokiness that it does have in the background means I'd feel more happy wearing that one in an office environment or in a suit and tie occasion for those more sophisticated formal occasions. So in that sense, I would probably say, while the versatility on this is amazing, it's still not the very best in the line of Creed or the line of the clones from the Essence Vault that copy Creed. And that's the only thing I can mark it down for. Other than that, it is brilliant. It's just those more formal occasions I wouldn't choose this one. And it could be a little bit cloying at the gym today, this one, I feel, because of those Irishy notes. They can become a little bit overwhelming at times, but it's very good. And I'm going to give versatility for that reason 9 out of 10. So again, another high score. When we get back, we will talk about projection and how much I noticed this then during my run. So run done, it is now time to spray my room to test for projection. So you haven't seen this before. Essentially, I want to see how much this fills the room. So I sprayed 10 times. So say this was an office and a colleague came in, would they notice the smell? Or obviously out from home, would a friend or a family member notice if they came in that you've got a nice fragrance on? I'm obviously going to spray my arms as well. It's 9:15, so it's about 3 hours until I leave the gym. So it'll be about 12:15. And this is just essentially to test for longevity. So I won't reapply it in the next few hours. So I'll do a walk, workout and a shower, and we'll just see how much the fragrance lasts. But we're going to head downstairs now, have a drink, and we'll talk about how much I noticed the Millesime Imperial clone during my run. Earl Grey tea. It is lovely. I need to do a weird layering video with this one, so I'm sure you'll see that soon. But let's talk about projection then for the Essence Vault 497, the Millesime Imperial clone by Creed. Now, I'll be honest with you, at first I thought, I'm not really noticing this, but I did stop on about 3 or 4 occasions, and that's when I really noticed this fragrance. It was pretty strong, it's pretty aggressive. Just didn't notice it so much running, but other than that, it was fine. Again, maybe the reason I didn't notice it, even with the breeze picking up, might just be the fact that it hasn't got those sweet vanillic notes, but it has got a sweetness about it, whether that's the combination of notes, you know, from sort of fruity notes in that top, it said about a melon vibe. Maybe that's coming through and mixing with a bit of the musk, but it's not an overly sticky, sweet fragrance. And for that reason, I'm not expecting it to fill a room, but 3 or 4 times, that isn't bad. Again, we've got to remember this is kind of more of a summertime fragrance, and it's not obviously the original Creed. It is a clone, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be quite as strong. But other than that, it smelled very nice, not too cloying. And I think this could be a scent that would be cloying if you were doing it, you know, you had an intense version and you were doing a workout in high heat weather. So what we'll do, we'll finish this cup of tea, we'll head upstairs, and then we'll give our score on projection. So up we go. Let's see what we can smell. Can we smell the Essence Vault 497? Oh, don't know what I can smell, but I can feel my knees. 15 miles again today, so let's walk in. Oh, it's definitely there. It's definitely there. This one's got a bit of a... So obviously I did the Tom Ford Noir clone the other day. That one didn't have this sort of sweet... It was powdery, but not as vanillic. There's something very, very sweet in this. And it's the C notes. It's definitely the C notes. Whatever is in that sort of accord they've made, it's got that sun creamy vibe. That's the word I'm looking for, sun cream. And that's giving it that staying power. It's very nice, and I'm enjoying that. It smells nice for a room. Now, again, I think if this was really strong, it'd be a little bit nauseating, a bit cloying, but it isn't super strong. It's probably about 50-60% as strong as it was when I sprayed it 10 minutes ago. But I do think this is a scent, if you've been sitting in a room more than if you move from room to room quickly and then move out the room. Say you've been in a room for half an hour and then go out. I think people would notice that someone's been in there, and they'll notice your fragrance as well. And they'll actually know it's a fragrance. It doesn't smell like sun cream specifically. There's a bit more complexity going on in this fragrance, and it's just left this really nice salty beach vibe, which is very calming, very relaxing, very inviting. So it's not done too badly. It's certainly done better than some of the other clones on projection. So for that reason, based on the fact I could smell it on my run as well, I'll go 8 out of 10, because these fragrances can sometimes, again, being fresh, I'm looking at some of the freshies, the Aventus clone, which I've obviously mentioned, that one didn't do very well in these sort of scores. So I think the fact this has got more staying power and it's a summer fragrance, and of course it's a cheapy clone, I think it definitely deserves that higher score. So yeah, 8 out of 10. I'm going to head to the gym now. We'll talk about compliment factor next. So do I think this fragrance is good for getting compliments, and do I think it's worth buying for that reason? So moving on to compliment factor now, and the score I'm going to give for this one is kind of influenced by a story I'm going to tell you about this fragrance from the other night. So me and my brother, we always like a late night walk. We like to wait till it's dark, go for a walk and just kind of unwind from the day essentially. And we obviously both normally put on a fragrance, and because the Essence Salt bottles are all the same and I've got them all out at the minute, all the ones I've recently bought in that bundle, I was going to put on the Tom Ford Noir clone because it was a few days before I was going to review that one. I was going to review that one next. So I thought, give it a wear on a walk, give myself a few ideas before I do this review. Anyway, in my mind, I thought I'd put that one on. Didn't really pay much attention. I said to my brother, oh, that's really nice, because I could smell the fragrance kicking up. And I said, oh, it's the Tom Ford Noir clone, it's the Sport 213. And he said, no, that's definitely Millesime Imperial. And then when I got back, I obviously sprayed them side by side and I thought, yeah, I put the wrong one on. I put on Millesime Imperial, and it was quite good for me because I asked him, oh, you obviously had it before. I remember him having it. He said, yeah, I remember that smell from before, the saltiness. I think personally, maybe he sprayed them when I wasn't in my room, not looking. He's probably trying to get revenge on me using all his. But either way, even if not, even if that was just because he smelt it from when he had the actual original a few years ago, that's great because it's obviously got a scent memory to him. It's obviously got enough uniqueness about it that he remembers this fragrance. And I think this is what I'd say. Look, it's a compliment getting fragrance. You can definitely get compliments on it. Any fragrance that's been cloned is a popular scent DNA, and that's probably because people have had compliments with it. It's pretty unisex, this one. You can wear it on those occasions where it just reminds you of the summer. It's very inviting. Again, there's nothing too daring in this. Perfect for compliments. But I think you can wear this one as much for you as anything else. This for me is one that leaves a lasting memory. Look, I'm obviously thinking of my summer holidays now. I'm sure a lot of people are because the weather's improving and going on vacation. This is just that beachy vibe, that scent that you could go in 20, 30 years time. Say you've got a partner, you go on your first holiday with them. It's one where you might look back and go, oh, do you remember that spray you wore? That reminds me of that holiday, our first holiday away, or maybe a wedding, maybe a friend's wedding, your best friend. Oh, I wore that fragrance to your wedding. It's one of those where I think it will leave a good memory for you, rather than one that I'd want to just wear all the time. It's one that I'd probably bring or buy every year. So let's say, you go to the same place. A lot of people go back to holiday on, to the same place. They might go to a Butlins or a Haven or a, Pontins, whatever they go on. And they might go, oh, do you know, I always buy that one when I go on that holiday. And this is what I'd say. It's a seasonal scent, which I think you can enjoy for yourself, and it will leave a really good lasting memory. It's not one I'm going to wear to make a statement and really try and impress someone. It's just one that I'm going to wear to enjoy myself, and other people around me will enjoy it and probably remember it for, those really good occasions. It's one of those things, you'll wear it on an occasion where you want to be happy and feel happy, and that will make you, a positive person, and people around you will find it a positive scent. So for that reason, I'm going to give compliment factor here 8.5. It's not one I'm going to dress up. It's not one I'm expecting to be particularly seductive, and it's not one I particularly want to wear for the gym or just as a dumb reach. I think it's better than that. But to sort of create sentiment or create lasting memories, I think this set's a good thing to go with those holidays and occasions where you just want to feel happy. And yeah, that's why I'm giving it that high score. But of course, if we do get any in the gym today, we'll bump it up to a 10. Just gone 10 past 12, and it's really picked up that wind this morning. I'm so glad I wasn't out running while it was like this. But it's time to test for longevity now. So it's been about, it's just over 3 hours since I applied the Essence Salt 497. So we'll see what we can detect. Okay, better than I thought, to be honest. I got quite warm during my workout today, and the showers seemed to be absolutely baking. They had like real hot spurts, then got really cold. And it's lasted well. It's probably about 50-60%, no, probably nearer 50% as strong as it was when I applied it a few hours ago. But that isn't bad. When you think this is more of a summer type fragrance, for something to last that long, that's pretty good. And to be honest, if I hadn't been doing a workout, if it was, I was just sitting in an office today, I think this would last on my skin 6, 7, 8 hours absolutely fine. I don't think I'd necessarily need to reapply it. I think it would pretty much be gone by the end of the day, which is really what I'd want with this. What I would say is it's that sort of iris, that lipsticky vibe is definitely worn off now, and it's kind of just salty now, but it's got that, where it's so intense on the salt, it almost smells a little bit smoky to me. It's become more masculine, and maybe that's just more of a mix with my skin chemistry, but I prefer it. I think actually taking that slight fruity sweetness or whatever it is from the top has made it more suited to maybe like a date night occasion. It almost feels like you could make a flanker of this one, where you make that salt a bit more intense, maybe mix it with like a suede leather, and this could be a great fragrance. But it is a great fragrance in its own right, and this clone is a fantastic representation of it. And if it's going to last all day for £25, perfect. It's so inviting, it's so easy to pull off, and it's amazing actually how prominent the smell of salt can be, or sea salt, in fragrances. So longevity's done better than I expected. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not super strong. I've definitely had stronger ones in the past, but for what this sort of scent profile is and what this, fragrance actually is, I think it's punching above its weight, and that's why it deserves a 9 out of 10. But yeah, when we head back, we'll count up all the scores and I'll give my overall thoughts. We are back. It is 1:27 p.m. and I have managed to do 42,557 steps, all while wearing today this fragrance here, the Essential 497, the Millesime Imperial clone, the Creed clone. Now, what was the total score this got based on the 5 rounds we did today? Done a lot better than I thought, and that's probably because I didn't give it a 10, but it managed to get 43.5 out of 50 despite that. It's really nice. It's really nice. That I do remember this fragrance, but I didn't remember it a lot before I bought this clone, and to be honest, I think my impression of it back then, 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever I first smelled the original Creed Millesime Imperial, I think my opinion of this actual fragrance's smell has definitely improved over the years. I really like that salty smell. Again, that is the real selling point for me. I said yesterday on my review of Tom Ford Noir, it felt like it was missing something. It was like a luxurious soap, but it needed something to kind of make it stand out compared to other summer fragrances. Whether that's a fruity component or a green note or something along those lines. This one, it has that saltiness, and it's really strong, it's really prominent, and it's really nice. And again, this is a great clone of it. And would I buy the Millesime Imperial £220, knowing how this one smells? If I really loved it, yes. What I would say with this fragrance, I like the scent DNA. I like it a lot, but it's very hard for these summer fragrances to wow me that much. But what it will do, and I think what would happen with this scent more than anything, is probably if I have this amazing holiday, this amazing trip, or some sort of amazing experience, and this is the scent I'm wearing, I probably would then take it to the next level. I haven't had that emotional connection with it yet, to be honest, but it offers so much. It offers plenty of versatility. You can use it pretty much all the time. It can be your signature scent if you want it to be. It's a very positive, happy scent, and just uplifting, and that's something that I think you really want with fragrances. And ultimately, I haven't actually mentioned this word, I normally do, clean. It just makes you feel clean and fresh, and that's always going to make you feel better. When you've got scruffy hair like me and wearing these big fleecy hoodies, you feel a little bit lethargic at times, and sometimes you just need a nice scent just to give you that uplifting feeling, and this one definitely ticks that box, so it's deserved that high score again. I can't believe I didn't give it a 10, but the fact it's got that higher score shows how much of an all-rounder it is. It's got very high marks on all the categories. So I don't even think it got a 7, did it? It's done really well. It's done really well. Very happy to have this in my collection. And to be honest, once I get through this bottle, I probably wouldn't buy it again. As I said, I think I'll probably leave it a year. But in a year's time again, when we come back to this start of spring, summertime, I'd probably buy it again. But it's going to be definitely a big part of my summer fragrance line this year. So yeah, very well done to the Essence Vault for cloning this. And yeah, there's a reason why Millesime Imperial has been around a long time, and that's because it is a very good scent and it's going to be here to stay. But thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go out and do another walk in a minute while I wait for my brother. 2 more clone fragrances to try, and yeah, I'll tell you a little bit of a story about that one. It involves horse racing. But yeah, hopefully you'll join me for that one, and I'll catch you later.